coming up.
You know, I think there's a lot of factors that the Red Angus would give these guys an advantage here in California.
We made a fairly heavy investment into some Red Angus bulls.
Working with Red Angus is a lot easier.
I realized how much they had to offer us in the Southeast. The Red Angus cattle just fit a whole lot better.
We travel coast to coast to see the versatility of Red Angus genetics next on The American Rancher. Hello and welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. The popularity of Red Angus genetics has increased in recent years, due in large part to the breed's performance, versatility, and docility. On today's program, we visit the Hearst Ranch in California, home of the world-famous Hearst Castle. But the first stop on our Red Angus coast-to-coast tour is Edgefield, South Carolina, where David Miller and his family have been integrating Red Angus genetics into their herd for several years.
I've been in agriculture my whole life. I grew up in the cattle business, dairy farming, beef cattle, row crops, hay. Been on my own for 12 years. And the son, JD, he's 15, he goes to Delaware, which is the South Carolina Government School of Agriculture. And my wife, she's a manager at Chick-fil-A. In 2003, I had a friend of mine ask me about going in with him on a Red Angus donor, and that was when I got my start with Red Angus. After that, I realized how much they had to offer us in the Southeast. Moderate, docile, the disposition's a whole lot better. They're more heat tolerant. Flies don't bother them near as bad as they do the black cattle.
I'm a veterinarian that practices in 7-county area in western South Carolina. I do herd health consultations and provide ultrasound pregnancy diagnosis, frozen embryo transfer, pelvic measurements, tract scores, so forth. At Riley Farms, which consists of my brother and my nephew, docility to me, the older I get, the more I love docile cows. Real fractious cattle are hard to work. I believe they are less fertile because of all the hormones and cortisone and everything, epinephrine is going on while you're handling them, and calmer cattle just work better and conceive better.
Working with Red Angus is a lot easier because, I mean, when you're working with them, they don't have the attitude that you have with the black cows. I mean, it's black cows that they just have that big attitude problem. The red cows, they don't tend to have it at all in general, and I don't know really any of them that have that problem. With
today's crisis with trying to get employees, the Red Angus cattle just fit a whole lot better. They're easier to work. You can work them by yourself, or you can get somebody new, and you can teach them better with the red cattle than you can the black ones, and they're not tearing up your facilities as much as the black ones.
You won't be around for 2 and 3 months, and you'll walk in there and they'll act like they've seen you just yesterday. They act like that, I mean, only because, I mean, I guess the stress levels on them are that much slower. The black cows, they turn real high-headed when they get in a pen. The red cows, they have a smaller flight zone. I mean, they're just not as jumpy. They deal with people a lot better. If I had a neighbor considering, I'd probably go out there and show him the black cows first, and then show him the red cows and show him just the attitude difference. Because, I mean, if he's a smaller producer, he's gonna be out there a lot more than a larger producer. And I mean, if he has a family or something, it's a lot safer on his family by the way the cows are just gonna act. So he's gonna wanna bring his kids through there and teach them how to work cows and stuff, and it's just an easier way to teach them.
I still haven't given any black cows, but I want to get them all weaned out where it's strictly red-headed cattle. We got the heat, the humidity, you know, dry summers a lot of times that we go several weeks without rain, and the Red Angus in the Southeast handled the drought we had a lot better. If we were dry, they wasn't sitting in the shade. They was out trying to graze. You know, in the heat of the day, they stay out there later than the black cows, and they're out there earlier than the black cows grazing.
If we can keep the body core temperature down lower, our production should be higher, fertility should be greater.
Red cattle seem to maintain their body condition better. They come through the summer, and they're usually fat in the summer. They get a little more weight on them than the black cattle do, and they just take the heat better, and so that's helped them out in this fall when we've been so dry. I don't supplement them with any feed, they just hay and baleage. We had rain, decent amount of rain this summer. It come in spells. We'd have 2 or 3 weeks of really wet weather, and then we might go 6 weeks with no rain, and before we get any rain again. The cows did very well. Making hay was a little bit scarce at times. Where we live at, there's no irrigation. There's the water 800 to 1,000 feet deep, and you might get 5 gallons a minute, so you're not gonna put a deep well put it in a pivot out here where we live. Everything with growing grass in the summertime can be challenging. We got about 250 acres of hay field, so that can get us by. I market my cow mostly through private trading, and I let the cows sell themselves. I can't talk you into them. If I talk you into them, you ain't gonna like them anyway. So if you look at the cows and see them in the working clothes, you're gonna appreciate them more.
We have been in the FCCP program, putting the Red Angus feeder calf tags in the calves. They know the calves are going to be a little bit better only because of what they're coming from. They know they're Red Angus sired, or they have some kind of Red Angus gene in them. They're going to be easier going, easier dealing with. A buyer's going to look at that as being more money in their pocket because that's less stress on that animal.
Up next,
This is 83,000 acres on California's central coast. It's most famous for Hearst Castle, which William Randolph Hearst started construction on in 1919. It's been a working cattle ranch more than 150 years.
we'll visit the Hearst Ranch as our Red Angus Coast to Coast tour continues here on The American Rancher. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Along the West Coast in San Simeon, California, the world-famous Hearst Castle, built by William Randolph Hearst in the early 20th century, overlooks a vast and rugged landscape where the Hearst family runs cattle. With all the breed choices available to them, the family recently began making the switch to Red Angus genetics.
We're here on the San Simeon property. This is 83,000 acres on California's central coast. It's been in private ownership, owned by the Hearst family since 1865. George Hearst, William Randolph Hearst's father, bought this property in 1865. It's been a working cattle ranch ever since then, more than 150 years. In the early days, that is in the 19th century, it was predominantly dairy cattle. Migrated towards beef cattle after George Hearst purchased the property. And then, of course, it's most famous for Hearst Castle, which William Randolph Hearst, George Hearst's son, started construction on in 1919. During William Randolph Hearst's day, cattle were produced not just for sale, but also for consumption at the castle. Most of the property is pretty steep, pretty brushy. In fact, if we looked at it from a grazing suitability standpoint, only about 35–40% of the property is even grazable due to slope and vegetative cover and that kind of thing. And so it's a difficult place to run a cow for sure. A couple of decades ago, about the time that consumer interest in specialty proteins really started to increase, we started finishing our own cattle entirely on grass. And we now sell over 1,000 head every year of 100% grass-fed, 100% hormone and antibiotic-free cattle to Whole Foods Market. And they sell those seasonally in their 42 Southern California stores. Every single animal that we sell under the Hearst Ranch beef name is born and raised completely, spends its entire life on these properties. And that's, of course, so that we can, have exclusive control under a single management regime of over every single one of those animals that carries the Hearst name. And one of the very interesting things about our relationship with Whole Foods Market is, of course, we get really good information back from them. Carcass data, but also information about consumer preferences and what consumers want when they walk in to that store. They pull up to the retail meat counter and they're making a decision about a really high-end piece of protein that they're going to serve at a graduation or an anniversary, Father's Day, some kind of special occasion. And so that information is truthfully very valuable to us as we make decisions about our herd, as we make decisions about our Hearst Ranch beef animals. And one of the things that we started to realize fairly recently here on the San Simeon property is we really needed more hybrid vigor. We were at the time almost exclusively black-hided. And so a couple of years ago, we made I'd say a fairly heavy investment into some Red Angus bulls, and now that's extended over to the female side of the herd as well.
We currently have 1,400 head of bred animals on the ranch, about 100 head of bulls, and we're calving out 300 head of heifers this year. We got into the Red Angus for several reasons. One, maternal traits in the breed, and also overall calmness of the Red Angus with our rugged country that we have, especially our back country. Calmness in the cattle is a key thing. Also, the biggest thing in the marketing of it for Whole Foods is marbling and tenderness.
Our principal reason for looking at Red Angus is, we want to improve or maintain the high quality of that piece of meat. And the traits that we're looking for in Red Angus are, really that intermuscular fat, seeing that marbling at the end of that animal's life, and also maternal traits. I mean, this is, again, a steep, brushy piece of country in which, that cow, when we put her in the back country, may not see a human horseback or in a pickup or otherwise for weeks on end. Predators are definitely an issue out here, mountain lions especially. We need that mama to be able to fend them off, be able to keep a really close watch on that calf when they're in the backcountry especially. We are in a particularly dry year here in San Simeon, and truthfully, we may not have fully recovered even from the drought that nominally ended in 2015. And so, truthfully, our cattle look really good. We're putting a lot of supplement into them. I want to be square about that, but we're trying to get these animals through until, they're calving now. We're going to start breeding them back here in December. And so the quality of that forage and really the efficiency, the ability of the animal to utilize and keep weight on, not fall back during these kinds of periods, that's what's most important to us. We've had Red Angus animals on the ranch now for about 2 years, but we're absolutely really happy with the performance of the bulls and the cows that we have, and you can see that, out there right now. So we're going to continue to increase our Red Angus bull power here on the property. We're actually, we've sent our ranch manager, Dan Russell, to a sale this very weekend to see if we can do that.
This is our 27th annual Cattlemans Select Bull Sale. We'll sell probably about 105 purebred breeding bulls.
Today we're here to purchase some more Red Angus bulls. Hopefully we're going to get some low birth weight bulls for our heifers. If we can't, then we're going to definitely buy some Red Angus for our cows also, but primary goal is to buy some calving ease bulls.
Oh, Dan and I are longtime friends. We grew up together. Dan actually, when he took over there at the Hearst Ranch, they started changing the program a little bit, and he had done a lot of research on the Red Angus breed, and it just kind of happened that I was going that way, and then he was, through his research and what he thought would work for their program, he thought that he certainly wanted to go that direction, and the fact that we've been friends for a long time, it really worked good that I was able to have, some of the right products that he needed. I think there's a lot of factors that the Red Angus would give these guys an advantage here in California. One, I think some people just like red. Two, I think they'd be a little more heat resistant. We get quite a bit of heat, but the biggest things is probably the docility, the fertility, the maternal traits of the cow is, I think, what a lot of guys are going after, and that's the big selling point for a lot of guys that I see is the maternal traits. And then the feed efficiency. They'll just do a little bit more on a little less, it seems like.
This year was a huge challenge for us with the rainfall. Typically we get 28 inches a year. They're spread over 4 to 5 months. This year we had 16 inches of rain at headquarters, and it all came in 2 days. So basically all the water did damage throughout the ranch and then ran in the ocean. So we didn't get a lot of recovery, and we didn't have a great grass crop this year. Also, the proteins were low in our grass from not having that extended rain season over that time. As you saw, the heifers on the ranch and the ones that are currently calving are very fleshy, very healthy, great mothers, great protective instinct, turn around right off the get-go and they're licking their calves, and couldn't ask for more as a mother.
I'm not your typical cow-calf guy. I've developed a program over the years where I've put together select groups of heifers through video auctions and private treaty, and then I run them as stalkers. And then at the yearling time during the spring, I'll sort the top end out of them. I'll carry those over through the summer and acclimate them, give them, obviously all their pertinent vaccinations, along with the foothill vaccination, which is a real common problem in our area, so that's a key ingredient. But I'll take those heifers on up to, through the yearling process into the winter, and then breed them for fall calvers, and then sell them in the spring and summer at select auctions. And recently, just this last year, you're starting to see a lot more red cattle. But we were able to sell several Red Angus bulls and females into the area over the last 2 or 3 years. So now you're really starting to see the calves show up.
7,000. Here's the 65 now, 7,000. Hold on, 6,795. Here's the back sold. $6,500 there now. That's buyer 6. First corporation.
After the break,
we're trying to continue to advance Red Angus genetics in a sustainable and profitable direction in the future.
with more pastures turning red coast to coast, see how the Red Angus Association is working hard to increase value for producers. You're watching The American Rancher. Stay with us. Welcome back to The American Rancher. The Red Angus Association of America works hard to keep the marketability of Red Angus cattle going strong. One of the most important services is the feeder calf certification program. Along with superior Red Angus females and high-performing Red Angus genetics, the FCCP Dangle Tag program continues to bring consistent premiums for Red Angus cow-calf operators.
The Red Angus Association of America has a long-standing tradition of not only servicing our members, but also our commercial cattlemen using Red Angus genetics. The Red Angus marketing team continues to develop programs designed to add value to Red Angus calves. We offer the industry's most experienced age, source, and genetic verification program, better known as the Red Angus Yellow Tag. More cattlemen are utilizing the FCCP tag than ever before to garner Red Angus premiums. This past fiscal year, the program enrolled over 214,000 head. This growth is not surprising, considering the tremendous return on investment that producers are experiencing with this third-party, no enrollment fee program. Research has shown that FCCP tag calves garner a $2.98 premium per hundredweight compared to non-tagged Red Angus influenced calves. This equates to a $1,430 difference on a potload of 6-weight FCCP tag calves compared to a potload of non-tagged Red Angus calves. With premiums like this, commercial producers should waste no time enrolling in the program. To enroll, call the Red Angus office and complete a short supplier enrollment question and answer session over the phone to verify that you qualify for the program. Once qualified, tags are shipped directly to the producer where the calves are tagged prior to them leaving the ranch of origin. We have the option of either a 99-cent dangle tag, a $2 EID only, or a $3 dangle EID combination set. The next step is to fill out the customer enrollment agreement and provide some basic calving records. You'll send this document in along with a copy of the first page of your calving book. Once this has been received by the Red Angus office, we will then issue your certificate of compliance, which is the document that buyers are looking for to verify your calf crop in the program. Alternatively, the Red Angus Association offers the Allied Access Tag, which carries the same age and source verification benefits of the FCCP program, but without those genetic requirements. This program is designed for producers utilizing a planned crossbreeding program and has the same easy enrollment process as the feeder calf certification program. Both of these options are ways the Red Angus Association continues to serve our commercial producers and help add value to their calf crop. To find out more, visit our website at www.redangus.org.
Recently, the Red Angus Association introduced a new index to identify beef cattle profitability. The Pro S Index gives producers the information they need to make cattle management decisions for profitability and better sustainability.
The Profitability and Sustainability Index, released by the Red Angus Association of America, covers traits from conception through harvest. That means that no matter where we look along the beef supply chain, this index takes into account those economically relevant traits. It looks to increase traits that add value to your herd while maintaining those costs of production, such as mature size or post-weaning feed intake, and really weights that information to make sure that we're trying to continue to advance Red Angus genetics in a sustainable and profitable direction in the future. The best way to learn more about Red Angus indexes and Red Angus genetics is to visit redangus.org. Under there, there's a section called Genetics, and all the information you could ever possibly want is on there.
We hope you enjoyed this coast-to-coast journey with the Red Angus Association of America. That's all the time we have today. To find out more about us, visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or connect with us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.